On June 12th, 2021 at 12:15 a.m., TPD responded to the 3200 block of Willow Lane on reports of shots fired and a subject being shot. When they arrived, they found Vershawn Leonard, he's a 19-year-old Tuscaloosa resident, deceased from multiple gunshot wounds. After that, of course, we began the investigation, and through the course of that investigation, we were able to identify Berniah Edwards, a 22-year of age Demopolis resident, and Justin Jenkins, a 21-year of age Linden resident, as suspects in the case. Berniah was charged with felony murder, and Justin was charged with capital murder. We've also identified 3 additional suspects, and we are in the process of gathering evidence on those suspects. We won't identify them at this time. Through the investigation, we received a huge amount of assistance from the Police Department in Linden, Utah PD, the Marengo County Sheriff's Office, the 17th District, Circuit Drug Task Force, as well as the U.S. Marshals Task Force. So we're still in the process of getting evidence and continuing to work the case, and expect more arrests to come.
Can you talk about either a motive or kind of what were the circumstances that led up to Saturday morning?
We don't want to release all those details yet, because that is part of our investigation, and some of those things we consider proprietary to the people that were involved. So we will give you more of that after we've rounded up everyone else.
Why were her charges downgraded from capital murder to felony murder?
Talking to the district attorney, we felt like that the stronger case at this time, based on the current evidence, was felony murder, but that may be upgraded later as we get more information.
Do we know why the shooters came to the home where the kid lived, and was it a robbery? Were they friends of his, or is it a drug deal?
We won't give you all of those details yet. They were acquaintances. The female and him were acquaintances, and so that's something that we're fleshing out through our investigation.
With the victim?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Right.
I know every case is unique, but I know that it's been a talking point with folks coming in out of the area, bringing in the criminal element to Tuscaloosa. Kind of want to speak about that. I mean, both of the suspects that have been arrested are both from Linden, I think. So if you just kind of want to speak to how y'all combat, the criminal element coming from out of town.
We have great partnerships, not just in our county, but in the region, and all the police departments, sheriff's departments, the task force, the U.S. Marshals Task Force. We all work together really well. So just through that cooperation, when we're able to put out information on Facebook and other social media sites, and through y'all, of course, we were able to get assistance not only from other police departments, but from witnesses and people that are willing to come forward as well.
Marty, how sad is this to have a rash of these homicides, and in this one particularly, losing the life of a 19-year-old kid for no reason?
Yeah, obviously it's unfortunate. It's something that we wish didn't happen, but we do, of course, have the resources and the cooperation of the community to combat it when it does.
Marty, each one of these cases you guys work are unique in and of themselves, but can you speak to some of the commonalities in terms of the age of these people who were involved, whether they're a suspect and or victim, and how you guys try not so much solve this, but combat so many of these shootings and or robberies that lead to these shootings that you're having to investigate?
Right, all the local agencies are kind of coming together to work together to try to combat these things through proactive patrols, through reaching out in the community, and through just that cooperation is vital to help us to try to stop these things. But obviously, when they happen, then we also have that cooperation to bring them to a closure.
Do you see people who are either family members of the people who are involved or friends? Are they helpful to you guys? Do they come forward and give you as much as you need to know, if not necessarily to solve one of these cases, but maybe prevent something from happening in the future?
That's something that is a case by case. Sometimes we have cooperation, usually we don't, and that's something that that's just something we have to try to overcome. But oftentimes with family members, there is no cooperation. I'm not saying that in this case specifically, but I'm saying generally speaking, sometimes we do not have that cooperation.
In general, what kind of support do you and others in the unit think would help not just you guys, but Tuscaloosa in general from so many of the murders and shootings that you guys are dealing with right now?
Obviously, if you know something that's going on, you can report it to the police. You can do that through Crime Stoppers, where you're not identified. You can call us and be just confidential. We do want to use information that's firsthand, obviously, to make cases, but all that information helps us. Our community is a supportive community in general. Specific incidents here and there, we have communities that may not support, but generally speaking, community support is greatly.
Marty, what's your message to the community? So many people are not used to the violent crimes that we've seen in this rash of shootings and killings, that the fact that you guys are on the job, that you are tracking down every lead, you're making arrests, kind of just what's your message to the community that you guys are going to not stop and you're going to continue doing what you do?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We never stop. We never give up on a case. We're going to continue to look for evidence. We're going to continue to find witnesses. And the cooperation with our community, like I said, is generally really good. And so with partnerships with local agencies, through regional agencies, and through our community, we can help stop some of these things and help bring them to a successful closure. Our district attorney's office works well with us to try to charge people and keep them in jail when we can.
Including Rashawn, how many homicides are y'all working on in the past week or two? Is it 3?
You mean recent homicides?
Yeah, recent.
In the city of Tuscaloosa, we've had 3 homicides in the last
Like 2 weeks.
2 or 3 weeks.
2 to 3 weeks, yeah.
I'd have to look at my notes.
That's what I
to
thought.
make sure, kind of.
And going back to like the whole conversation about gun violence, I know Chief Blankley gave a lot of pretty troubling statistics last night at that round table, kind of showing like the doubling of gun arrests year over year. Is that consistent with what y'all are seeing? I mean, being the violent crimes unit?
Mm-hmm. Well, of course, we see gun violence. That's what we deal with,
Right.
obviously, for the most part. So we do see a lot of it, and I think that some aspects we may be slightly down this year, but a lot of aspects we're not. We're up. So the thing is we need people to stop the gun violence. We need people to when you see an issue, call us ahead of time. When you see someone that has a weapon and they're doing things like shooting in the air, then come forward and give us information, and maybe we can head some of this off.
Do you think this uptick is kind of due to folks being pent up from the pandemic, or the growth in Tuscaloosa?
No, that would assume that people who are willing to commit crimes follow rules. So no, I don't think that's the situation. I majored or minored in sociology, but I can't really give you an expert opinion on that.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mark.